Let's talk right now. I'm not angry. I'm not here to shame you. I'm here to bring you home. My beloved child, freeze the scroll. Still your hands. Do not rush past this moment. This is not a storm coming to swallow you. This is a shelter opening over you. I am not coming to expose you for humiliation. I am approaching to uncover what hurts so it can be healed. You are safe with me. Hear that. Breathe it in. I am not a threat to your dignity. I am the one who gave it to you. I know what happens inside you when you sense my nearness. Your shoulders tighten a little, your thoughts scatter, your fingers reach for another window, another task, another excuse to stay moving because stillness feels like surrender, and surrender feels like exposure. When you feel me step close, you remember the places that still ache and you instinctively build a wall of busyness, a quick scroll, a clever detour, because you learned long ago that being seen meant being judged, being known meant being left. You brace for a verdict that never came from me. You rehearse answers for questions I have not asked. You prepare to perform before a gavel I do not hold. Listen to me. My voice is not a courtroom gavel crashing down to condemn you. It is a surgeon's hand, steady and clean, coming to gently open what has festered so that it can finally close. What I reveal to rescue, not to reject. What I touch to heal, not to harm. I do not stand above you shaking my head. I sit beside you, nearer than your breath, and I place my hand over the place that throbs and say, I am here. I am close to the brokenhearted and save those crushed in spirit. Psalm 34:18. I tell you this not to frighten you, but to awaken you to the difference between the voice of shame and the sound of my heart. Shame says, hide. I say, come into light and live. Do not rush past this moment. Do not outrun the very mercy that has caught up to you. There is a doorway opening right now, and it is not just a door back to me. It is a door back to you, to the you that pain tried to erase and fear tried to rename. This conversation is a hinge, a turn in the hall where you have walked in circles. Pause here. Put your weight down. Let your soul know it is no longer being chased. You are not late. You are in the appointment I set for you from before the foundations of your weary week. Be still and know that I am God, able, willing, gentle, and mighty in the same breath. You have been trained by disappointment to see closeness as danger, to expect that when I draw near, I will list your failures or demand a proof you no longer have the energy to provide. But I am not here to tally. I am here to untie. I am the one who looked at you when you could not lift your face and chose you anyway. My covenant with you is not fragile. I do not pick you up one day and drop you the next. The light I bring does not strip you naked to humiliate you. It clothes you with clarity, with warmth, with the truth that sets you free. When I expose a wound, it is so air can reach it, so infection can leave it, so what once leaked pain can finally be sealed. This is heart surgery with your consent, not a public trial without representation. I am both your advocate and your healer. So slow down with me. Turn down the volume of every other room. Put your phone face down if you must. Let the rush drain out of your bones. You are not losing time by being here. You are reclaiming years that running could never restore. I will not humiliate you. I will hold you. I will confront what harms you with a love that refuses to be polite with lies, and I will restore to you an authority you thought you forfeited. Even now, I am softening the reflex in you that tightens against tenderness. Even now, I am rewiring the signal that interpreted closeness as danger. Even now, the atmosphere around you is shifting from interrogation to invitation. Do you feel that small resistance, like the urge to check the time, to skim these words, to say, maybe later? That is the old alarm, the learned survival rhythm that kept you from collapse when you didn't yet know how safe my presence is. Thank it for what it tried to do, and then let it rest. I am here. My arm is not too short to save, nor my ear too dull to hear. Isaiah 59:1. I have nothing to prove to you and everything to give you. You do not have to convince me to be kind. I am kindness. You do not have to manipulate me into mercy. I am mercy. My child, look at me. This is not anger coming toward you. This is healing coming for you. This is the moment you've been avoiding because you feared it would break you, but this is the moment that will mend you. I am the one who knows how to hold the blueprint of your soul and the shards of your story in the same hand. Trust my touch. Stay with me through this conversation. Let your heart loosen its fist. Let your breath deepen. Let your eyes soften. There will be truth here, but never terror. There will be repentance here, but never ridicule. I will speak plainly, I will move gently, and I will not leave you in the middle of the process. This is your safe place and your turning point. If you will allow me to lead, I will guide you from avoidance into wholeness, from hiding into honor, from fear into a quiet, enduring strength. Not by shoving you forward, but by walking with you step by step. I am here now, and I am not leaving. My child, stay with me and let me name what has been happening inside you. I saw the moment you stopped asking. I saw the quiet decision, made not with words, but with a tired exhale, when hope felt like a cliff and numbness felt like a floor. I watched you fold your questions into smaller boxes so they would make less noise. I noticed when your prayers turned into polite summaries and your laughter learned how to hover above the ache. You did not stop because you stopped caring. You stopped because you cared so deeply that another disappointment felt unlivable. You learned to survive by disappearing. There were rooms where your tears were treated like a problem to fix, not a pain to hold. There were voices that called your honest need too much, your longing immature, your softness weak. There were days when reaching for comfort ended in correction, when vulnerability was followed by a lecture, when the hands that should have held you counted your mistakes instead. So you taught your heart to tuck itself in, to be low maintenance, to prepare its own meals of silence and its own blankets of busyness. You became very good at smiling with your mouth while your eyes practiced vanishing. This was not rebellion, this was adaptation. When closeness felt like exposure and exposure felt like judgment, distance felt like safety. When asking seemed to invite refusal, you trained your soul to stop asking. I tell you this not to frighten you, but to awaken you to why you run when you hurt. You do not run because you are faithless. You run because you were wounded and no one told you you could be held there. You decided quietly that needing is dangerous. Your body remembers the sting of a door half opened then slammed, the heat of being measured and found lacking, the burn of being told to pull yourself together while your pieces were still on the floor. So you reached for self-control like armor and you wrapped it tight around your tenderness. Withdrawal began to feel like wisdom. Silence started to feel like strength. Independence, even isolation, put on the costume of maturity. But child, listen, what looks like control here is often only self-protection. What feels like independence is sometimes pain trying not to be looked in the eyes. Avoidance has performed like a guardian for you, but it has also kept the wound untouched, uncleaned, unclosed. It shielded you from the immediate sting of honesty and sentenced you to a longer ache. Underneath this pattern, there has been a belief whispering in the halls of your heart, a belief you mistook for reverence. If I let God in, I will be corrected, reduced, punished, or reminded of what I failed to be. So you tidy the surface of your life and hope I will be content to wave from the porch. You keep a safe distance from your own tenderness and call it reverence for me. as if my presence thrives on your performance and not on your trust. You hesitate to bring me your raw, your shaking, your unedited truth, fearing that I will tally it up and send you away with homework and a heavy sigh. But hear me, that fear is not born of my heart. That script did not come from my mouth. My correction never reduces your humanity, it restores it. My light does not shrink you. It reveals who you have always been with a dignity no one can take. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. Isaiah 41:10. I am not the accuser circling your weakness. I am the Father drawing near to your ache. I saw the nights you rehearsed the sentence, "I'm fine," until it sounded almost true. I was there when you made the vows that felt like safety at the time. I will not need that much again. I will never cry like that where someone can see. I will handle it myself. I watched you become a master of plausible brightness, a keeper of calendars, a servant of responsibilities, while a quiet hunger sat alone in the corner, asking if it was allowed to exist. I did not despise you for this. I have never mocked your survival strategies. I have honored the child in you who learned to read the room for danger and to make adjustments so you would not be left. And now I am here to tell your learned guardian, you may rest. You do not have to disappear to be safe. You do not have to make yourself small to be loved. I am close to the brokenhearted and save those who are crushed in spirit. Psalm 34:18. Your nearness to breaking was not a reason for me to step back. It was the reason I came closer. Withdrawal promised you relief without risk, but it kept your pain in the shadows where it multiplied in secret. Disappearing gave you the illusion of not needing, but it robbed you of the oxygen that healing requires. You built a room without windows and called it sanctuary, and it was for a season, until the air grew thin and you wondered why breathing cost so much effort. Hear me. I do not fault you for finding a shelter in the storm, but the storm has passed and I am opening the door. What protected you then constrains you now. The reflex that once kept you alive is now keeping you from life. Let me say this plainly so the old narrative loses ground. You did not pull away because you failed me. You pulled away because you were afraid and exhausted, and you did not know that you could be fully seen and still fully safe in my presence. You thought my nearness would mean a scolding, a spotlight on your lack, a set of conditions you could not meet. In truth, my nearness means this: hands steady enough to hold what is bleeding without flinching, a voice gentle enough to speak truth without stripping your dignity, a love determined enough to stay until the shaking settles. I do not come to punish you for bleeding. I come to put my hand on the wound and stop the hidden hemorrhage. I do not come to remind you of what you failed to be. I come to restore you to who you are with me, even here, especially here. Breathe with me now. Feel how your chest loosens when you are not bracing for a blow. Notice how your mind quiets when the judge you feared is revealed as your advocate and healer. Let the thought pass through you like a cleansing wind. I am safe to be honest with God. Say it again. I am safe to be honest with God. When you choose honesty in my presence, you are not choosing humiliation. You are choosing oxygen. When you stop disappearing, you are not choosing danger. You are choosing me. I will not misuse your need. I will not weaponize your tears. I will not abandon you in the middle of this meeting. I am here to unteach the reflex of running and to tutor your soul in rest. So when the ache flares, do not vanish. When disappointment knocks, do not rehearse old vows. When fear tells you that stepping closer will mean correction before comfort, answer it with what you are learning now. My Father comforts me, then He guides me. He holds me, then He heals me. Come as you are feeling, not as you are faking. Whisper, I need you right here, and let me be with you right there. This is how the pattern breaks, not by shaming the runner in you, but by loving them until their legs forget how to flee. I am with you, and I am not leaving. Now listen, my child, and let this settle like medicine on your tongue. I am not here to accuse you. The voice that trained you to brace, to shrink, to scan for the exit, that is not my voice. The sensation that you are always behind, always in trouble, always one mistake away from being disqualified, that did not come from my heart. I tell you this not to frighten you, but to awaken you, because the confusion of voices has made you run from help when you needed help the most. Hear me plainly. If the voice drives you to hide, it is not me. My voice draws you into light without stripping you of dignity. Let me draw the line you were never taught to see. Condemnation and conviction are not the same wind. Condemnation is a storm that tears the roof from your house and leaves you standing shivering in shame. Conviction is a warm, steady hand at your shoulder, turning you gently toward home. Condemnation announces a verdict without a pathway, paints you with a broad, dark smear. You are bad, you are hopeless, you are too much, you are not enough. And then abandons you to figure out the rest in the dark. Conviction is precise, specific, infused with hope. This place hurts, let's touch it. This choice harms you, let's change it. And it walks with you step by step toward freedom. Condemnation makes you look down at the ground and rehearse your disqualification. Conviction lifts your chin, names what is true without humiliating you, and shows you who you are with me while we walk the way of restoration together. Now let's expose the counterfeit that has been wearing my tone like a thief in your house. That harsh inner narrator, that spiritual dread, that constant "you're behind." The pushy urgency that makes your chest tighten and your soul hide under the table. That is not my tone. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I came that you may have life and have it abundantly. John 10:10. So measure the voice by its fruit. Does it steal your courage, kill your tenderness, destroy your ability to come close? Or does it breathe, even when it challenges you, a strange safety that says, you can tell the truth and still be loved? My correction never humiliates, my clarity does not crush. My holiness does not require your hiding, it provides your healing. You have lived inside names I did not write. Untrustworthy, too much, not enough, late, dirty, disorganized, overly emotional, weak, hard to love. You took those words like house keys and built rooms around them, and then you learned to move quietly so as not to rattle the hinges. You avoided conversations because the label unreliable seemed to hover over your head like a cracked halo. You withdrew from joy because too much had trained you that celebration equals risk. You overperformed endlessly because not enough made rest feel like failure. Child, those labels became gates that stood between you and the door I opened. They did not come from me. In the records of heaven beside your name, I have not written those words. I have never called you by your relapse, your debt, your lapse, your breakdown, or your worst night. I do not call you the one who failed. I call you mine. I call you beloved. I call you clean because I have made you clean. I call you chosen because I wanted you when you thought you were unpickable. There is therefore now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. Romans 8:1. Hear it again and again until the counterfeit loosens its grip. No condemnation. In the unseen realm, there is an accuser who loves paperwork, vague charges, recycled indictments, old headlines trying to pass as today's news. He stamps your soul with yesterday's shame and files it under identity, hoping you will agree with the label and live beneath it. But I am your advocate, not your accuser. I do not build a case against you. I break cases open to set you free. I stand at the bench with scars that speak a better word, and I issue a verdict that silences the hall of whispers. Acquitted, adopted, appointed. Do you feel how different that is from the hissing at the edges of your mind? The enemy's accusations are fog. Everything feels wrong and nothing is clear. My conviction is light. This, here, now, and here is how we walk out. The enemy says, you always, you never, and leaves you heavy. I say, today, this choice, this pattern, this wound, let's touch it, and I stay. So let us practice discernment together. When you hear a voice that says, hide, don't tell, wait until you are better, that is not me. When you feel a shove fueled by panic, perform, or you will be abandoned, that is not me. When a sentence snakes through your thoughts, you are late, you missed it, you wasted your chance, you are a disappointment, that is not me. My way is different. My spirit moves like this. Come as you are, truthfully. Let me wash your feet where the road has dusted them. Here is the next right step. Here is grace for today. Here is mercy for what you cannot fix yet. Here is courage for the call you carry. And under it all, here is love that does not flinch or withdraw. Say this with me, out loud, because your mouth is a gate and your words are keys. I renounce the labels that do not come from God. I lay down too much, not enough, late, dirty, untrustworthy, and I agree with the name my Father speaks. I am not under condemnation. I am under compassion that transforms me. When you open your mouth and agree with me, you are not pretending the past never happened. You are refusing to let the past keep naming you. You are stepping out of the small rooms shame built and walking into the house of light I have prepared. Let me reassure your trembling places one more time. I will never weaponize your confession. I will never use your tears as evidence against you. I will not turn your honesty into a headline of failure. When you bring me your truth, I bring you mine, and my truth does not crush the reed that is already bruised. It binds it, strengthens it, and teaches it to stand. The battle you feel around your identity is not proof that I have left you. It is proof that your name carries weight in heaven and resistance on the earth. But hear my decree over the noise. You are not what shame said. You are not what fear rehearsed. You are not what that worst night tried to tattoo on your soul. You are mine, and I am teaching you to recognize my footsteps, my tone, my touch. So the next time the counterfeit leans close and hisses, hide, stand still and remember this moment. Breathe and answer with the truth we have settled together. If the voice drives me to hide, it is not him. My Father's voice draws me into light without stripping me of dignity. Come into that light again and again, and you will find not a gavel but a hand, not a prison but a path, not accusation but the kind of correction that feels like coming home. My child, listen and lean in, because what I am about to uncover will explain why you have felt so tired while doing everything right. You are not weak. You have been fighting an invisible battlefield while smiling. You have been carrying groceries and responsibilities, answering emails and encouraging others, while a quiet war pressed against your ribs. You thought it was only emotions, only habits, only stress. But you have been walking through an unseen conflict that does not announce itself with sirens. For your struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against rulers, against authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places. Ephesians 6:12. I tell you this not to frighten you, but to awaken you, because when you think the battle is you versus you will punish what needs protection and scold what needs strengthening. Here is the strategy of darkness that has stalked your path. Isolate, exhaust, accuse. First, isolate. Pull you from honest conversation, from community that knows your real name, from prayer that breathes. Then, exhaust. Wear your nervous system thin with constant low-grade worry, hidden grief, unprocessed memories, demands that never pause. Then accuse, whisper that you are a disappointment for being tired, that your questions disqualify you, that your need proves you are unspiritual. The same hand that pushed you toward the precipice then mocks you for losing balance. The same voice that urged you to numb the pain then shames you for the coping you reached for to survive. Drink, scroll, overspend, overwork, overthink, undereat, overperform. Any temporary hush offered as relief becomes a spotlight of ridicule the next morning. This is not random. This is a tactic, and I am exposing it so you stop agreeing with its conclusions about who you are. There has also been in the shadows a paperwork ministry of accusation that recycles your past as proof that you should stay far from me. Files are waived, old failures copied and bound together, words spoken over you by wounded voices, family patterns mislabeled as destiny, private vows you made in panic, moments you wish had never happened. These are arranged like legal documents and slid across a table in the unseen, as if to say, here is why they do not deserve closeness. Here is why intimacy with God is unsafe. The prosecutor references outdated records and stamps them current. The goal is not justice, but paralysis. Keep you defending yourself so fiercely that you do not receive what I am pouring out. But I am your advocate. I have entered that courtroom with scars that silence counterfeit evidence, and I am issuing a counter-decree. These charges do not stand. The handwriting against you has been nailed to the cross and disarmed. I do not read your name through the lens of those files. I read those files through the power of my name over you. So hear my intent plainly. I tell you this not to frighten you, but to awaken you, so you stop fighting yourself and start standing with me. When fear surges, it is not simply hormones and habit. It is a flare on a battlefield. When discouragement repeats like a broken song, it is not only personality, it is a broadcast from a dark tower trying to set the weather in your soul. When you feel the urge to disappear rise like a tide, it is not only exhaustion, it is a net tugging at your ankles, hoping you will call it wisdom and sit down in defeat. Instead of agreeing with the weather report of despair, come under my covering. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will cover you with my feathers, and under my wings you will find refuge. My faithfulness will be your shield and rampart. Psalm 91:1-4. My faithfulness is your shield. Do you hear me? Not your perfect mood, not your flawless track record, my faithfulness. You say, but I feel bruised and shaky. I must be failing. I answer, you feel bruised because you have been in a fight. A soldier does not call herself weak because her muscles ache after battle. She calls herself awake and still standing. The heaviness you labeled I am broken beyond repair has often been the weight of impact rounds meant to push you to surrender. The brain fog you thought was incompetence has been the smoke of war in your mind. The sudden disinterest in what brings life, that is not mere laziness. It is a targeted muting, a dampening field trying to make color look gray, so you will not reach. The shame you feel after coping is not my voice. It is the adversary weaponizing your very survival to keep you quiet. But listen to me. The battle isn't proof you're abandoned. It's proof you're targeted, and I am teaching you how to stand. Here is how we begin to stand, not by frantic thrashing, but by aligned stillness and clear speech. Do not fight shadows with shadows. Do not wrestle your own reflection. Stand under my word. Belt truth around your waist. Say what I say, even when your feelings lag. Lift up the shield of faith. Do not wait for emotions to rise before you trust. Let trust be the cloak that guards your tender places, while emotions catch up. Put on the helmet of salvation. Guard your mind from recycled headlines that say always and never. Take the sword of the Spirit. Speak back. not with insults at yourself, but with my sentences. I am covered, I am loved, I am held, I am being taught to stand. When an old file is waived, you failed here, therefore you are this. Answer, that is not my name. My record is under blood. My advocate has spoken. I come close by mercy. And come close. Refuse isolation. The plan to cut you from the flock is the plan to make you easy prey. So press your life into honest company, even if your voice shakes. Say, I am tired, before exhaustion becomes emergency. Say, I was tempted, before coping becomes a secret. Say, I need help, before the accuser says, you are beyond help. The darkness profits most when you interpret your bruises as proof you should hide. I profit you most when you bring them into light, where they lose their power to narrate your worth. Remember, I am close to the brokenhearted. Remember, be strong and courageous, not because you never tremble, but because I am with you in the trembling. Let me also put my hand on your nervous system like a father soothing a startled child. Breathe with me. Inhale the truth that you are under wings. Exhale the lie that you are on trial. Inhale the promise that no arrow flying by day can strike you unguarded. Exhale the suspicion that I will abandon you when the sky darkens. Under my feathers is not a metaphor for passivity. It is a position of strength while I fight for you. The Lord will fight for you. You have only to be still. Exodus 14:14. Stillness here is not surrender to the enemy. It is surrender to me. It is you refusing to be rushed into conclusions by panic. You have smiled at strangers while wrestling thoughts in the stall of a bathroom. You have answered messages with warmth while feeling your heart carry sandbags. You have organized the room, cooked the meals, solved the problems, while a subtle dread tried to braid itself into your day. This is not because you are weak, it is because you are significant. You are a carrier of tenderness and truth, and the field knows your name. But hear me. You are not a soft target, you are a guarded one. My angels excel in strength. They hearken to my word over you. I do not leave you to fend for yourself with a pep talk and a pat on the head. I am present, commanding, covering, instructing. So stand here with me. Let the verdicts of old be set aside. Let the files be returned to dust. Let the cycle of isolate, exhaust, accuse be interrupted by a louder rhythm. Come close, rest under, stand up. The next time the push to disappear hits like a wave, do not conclude you are failing. Conclude the battle is active and the covering is near. Speak back. The Lord is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. Then take the next small step I show you. We are not measuring your heroics. We are training your stance. I am with you, my child, and I am teaching you how to stand. Now, my child, let us turn toward the place you keep walking past, with your eyes on the floor. The wound you avoid keeps repeating because it is asking for my touch. I do not say this to frighten you, but to awaken you to mercy. You have been circling the same ache, switching scenery and schedules, but the story plays again because the heart has not been heard. You have grief you never processed, goodbyes you survived by distracting yourself, losses you minimized because others seemed to need you to be strong. You have betrayal you shrugged off with a brittle laugh. It's fine, I'm over it, while the splinter stayed buried, reddening the skin of your trust. You have childhood fears you spiritualized away, memories of slammed doors, sudden silences, sharp words, nights when you listened for footsteps and prepared to shrink, that you coated with verses but never let me hold. You have regret you keep punishing yourself with replays of what you wish you had done, scripts of if only, late-night courts where you sentence yourself again and again. And each of these places, silenced but not soothed, keeps sending up signals, anxiety like a fire alarm, irritability like a tripwire, fatigue like a power outage. numbness like a winter that will not end, begging for honest attention. Hear me. What you refuse to feel, you will repeat. What you refuse to bring to me will demand your attention through symptoms that will not politely wait. When the sorrow is not named, it leaks. When the betrayal is not tended, it breeds suspicion that punishes those who did not wound you. When the childhood fear is not comforted, it grows up wearing adult clothes and calls itself wisdom, while it escorts you away from risk and intimacy. When the regret is not released, it builds a prison of vigilance. You try to control everything because you cannot forgive yourself for what you could not control then. Avoidance looks like relief because it is quiet for a moment, but it is the quiet of a festering wound hidden under a bandage that is never changed. It is the hush of a numbing agent, not the peace of a healed place. I am not coming to rip the bandage in a public square and humiliate you. I am coming as a gentle surgeon. I do not tear you open to shame you. I open what is infected so it can finally breathe and heal. I clean with kindness. I cut only what does not belong. I stitch with precision and I stay while the anesthesia wears off. I am close enough to feel your sigh before it becomes a sob. I am not afraid of the mess. I am not startled by the scent of old pain. I have washed feet dirtied by roads harsher than this. I have placed my hands into wounds that others refuse to touch. Do you remember what I said? Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. Matthew 11:28-29. My gentleness is not sentimental, it is skilled. It is the steady hand you need when the tender place must be tended at last. Let us name them together, because when you put language on what you fear, it shrinks under light. That grief, the one that comes when you smell a certain season, when a song finds you unprepared, when a holiday chair sits empty, bring it. Say the name of the one you lost. Tell me the time you hoped for and did not get. Tell me the way it altered your map of the world. That betrayal, the friend who vanished when you were honest, the leader who leveraged your loyalty, the partner who promised and then turned absent. Bring it. Tell me what trust cost you and what you fear it will cost you again. That childhood fear, the waiting that taught your stomach to knot, the phone call that made walls feel thin, the rule that shifted like sand and kept you scanning. Bring it. Tell me how your body still remembers, how your shoulders tense when the tone changes in a room. That regret, the purchase that broke you, the word that cut someone you love, the year you wandered, the habit that hooked you, the moment you froze. Bring it. Tell me the worst of it, because I already know and I am not moving away. I tell you this in love. The unaddressed wound keeps choosing for you. It sets your boundaries. It edits your joy. It decides where you say yes and where you never try. And in the unseen, it becomes a point of leverage, a spot the adversary presses when he wants you to accept smallness. He does not have to invent new tactics when the old bruise is enough to make you sit down. But I am speaking a different word into that place. Healed. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147:3. I do not merely console you and leave you leaking. I bind, I close. I teach the skin of the soul how to knit again. Here is how we begin, not with performative strength, but with honest presence. Sit with me. Put your hand where your body feels the ache, your chest, your throat, your stomach. Breathe and tell me out loud, even if your whisper is all you have. This is what happened. This is how it felt. This is what I made it mean about me. This is what I fear now. Do not rush to fix. Do not decorate the pain with apologies for feeling it. Do not explain it away with theology that functions as distance. I know the doctrine. I wrote it. I am more interested in this moment in your heart. When you speak the exact truth of your wound in my presence, you are not dishonoring me. You are honoring the healer by bringing him the right chart. Conviction may come, yes, but it will be specific and it will sound like an invitation. Release that vow, forgive there, ask for forgiveness there. Let me remove that thorn, let me redirect that desire. There will be no fog of shame, no global smear across your name. You ask, but what if I start crying and cannot stop? I answer, then we keep breathing together while the waters finally find their river. Tears are not evidence of failure, they are evidence of thaw. And I am not measuring my love by your composure. You ask, what if I feel worse before I feel better? I answer, when infection is open to air, it often stings before it soothes, but healing lives on the far side of that honesty. I stay, I keep my hand there, I am not squeamish, I am not in a hurry to move you along. Rest under my gaze until the tremor settles. You will find rest for your souls, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Matthew 11:29-30. Easy does not mean empty of effort. It means you are no longer dragging this alone. Light does not mean trivial. It means I carry what would crush you. Notice the cycles that have followed your avoidance, not to accuse you, but to make map and meaning. The same type of friend, the same kind of boss, the same late-night coping, the same argument that never resolves. These are not random. They are echoes, invitations, alarms. When you keep waking at the same hour with the same dread, when you keep losing your temper at the same trigger, when your body keeps going numb in the same conversation, these are the wound calling for me. Each time you obey avoidance, you tell the wound, stay in charge. Each time you bring it to me, you dethrone it and enthrone peace. Say this with me, because your mouth opens doors your mind cannot. Father, I bring you the grief I minimized, the betrayal I joked away, the childhood fear I hid in scripture without letting you hold me, and the regret I replayed to punish myself. Touch me here. Open what is infected without shaming me. Bind what is bleeding without rushing me. Teach me to feel so I do not repeat. I agree with your healing. When you say it, you are not conjuring magic. You are consenting to medicine. And as you do, watch how I move. Watch how the memory that used to flood you begins to soften. Watch how the trigger that ruled you begins to lose its throne. Watch how your capacity to tell the truth increases without terror. Watch how tenderness returns to places you wrote off as permanently numb. This is not pretend. This is the kingdom entering the hidden room. I am the one who does not bruise the reed further. I straighten it. I am the one who does not snuff the smoldering wick. I breathe, and it brightens. Avoidance has been a blanket that blocked the air. Bring the wound to me, and it will finally begin to close. I am here, my child, close enough to feel your sigh, present enough to carry your weight, committed enough to stay until peace is not a visitor, but a resident. Come to me. We will heal this together. My child, now that your hand is in mine and the tender place is in the light, let me speak to you about time. What you called delay was protection. Delay is not the evidence of abandonment. It is the space in which I reshape your wings before you fly. I tell you this not to frighten you, but to awaken you, because your heart has interpreted pauses as punishments and closed doors as proof you are disqualified. They were not. They were my kindness saying, not yet, not like this, not while the wound is still bleeding, not while the foundation still shifts beneath your feet. I have always been more interested in your wholeness than in your hurry. You asked me for open doors, and I answered with a steady hand on the latch. I refused to let you build a future on an unhealed foundation. I would not set a palace on wet cement. I would not place a crown on a head that still bowed to the lie. I would not pour new wine into skins that would burst at the first expansion. I am laying the foundation before I build the house. If I had given you the weight of what you prayed for while your soul was still bandaging itself with avoidance, the gift would have become another place where you bled. The platform would have amplified the ache. The relationship would have carried the splinter into every conversation. The provision would have flowed through a vessel full of small, almost invisible cracks, and leaked out as fear, as self-sabotage, as restlessness. I love you too much to let the miracle become another breaking. Listen to me. I am not only interested in handing you blessing, I am forming a keeper. I am shaping a steward who can carry peace without chasing drama to feel alive, who can keep joy without waiting for the other shoe to drop, who can keep provision without needing to prove worth through spending or hoarding, who can keep love without sabotaging intimacy when tenderness feels dangerous. When you asked me to answer quickly, I heard the ache. When I answered slowly, I was mending the vessel. I have been strengthening your boundaries so generosity does not become exploitation, training your nervous system to rest under my wings so opportunity does not trigger panic, deepening your roots so sudden winds do not define your seasons. What looks like stillness from the surface has been architecture below, the kind that makes houses stand when storms arrive. And yes, the pressure intensified in the waiting, not because I withdrew, but because the old pattern resisted being uprooted. The adversary throws tantrums on the eve of your exit. Old agreements rattle loudest when the pen is in your hand to sign a new covenant of truth. The well-worn path argues for its right of way when you step into a new road. The resistance you felt, spikes of fear before interviews, old coping surging just as you started to feel, familiar chaos knocking when you chose honesty. These were not signs that you were failing. They were sirens revealing where freedom was closest, like contractions before birth, like the heat of the kiln sealing the glaze. The intensity was not to destroy you, but to finish what we started. Stand with me inside that frame and see it rightly. You were not abandoned. You were opposed because you are advancing. So hear me teach your heart how to wait without suspicion. Wait for the Lord, be strong, and let your heart take courage. Wait for the Lord. Psalm 27:14. Waiting is not wasting, it is strengthening. It is an active posture, eyes open, spine aligned, breath steady, while I finish what love began. To wait for me is to let me set the tempo so your soul does not sprint and collapse. To wait is to consent to formation, to allow me to complete the slow work that fast hands ruin. Courage in the wait looks like this. You stop labeling pauses as loss. You stop calling protection punishment. You rehearse who I am until the fog of maybe I'm forgotten burns off in the light. I know you have asked, if it was good, why not now? Listen to my answer sealed in my word. A little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in its time. Isaiah 60:22. In its time, not merely in your preference or in the pressure of comparison, but in the precision of my wisdom. And then, do you hear it? I hasten it. Slow, 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 and then suddenly. Roots, 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 and then branches in a day. Preparation you cannot photograph, then fruit that even your enemies must acknowledge. I guard beginnings from premature exposure so that endings may be glorious. I withhold spotlights until your eyes can face light without blinking into panic. I restrain the yes until the no you needed to say to old agreements holds steady under weight. You remember the doors that almost opened and then swung shut. You called yourself foolish for hoping. I called those moments rescues disguised as disappointments. The partnership that collapsed at the last meeting. Do you remember how the metrics looked perfect but your peace went thin? The move you were ready to execute, but the path was strangely blocked. The relationship you begged me to salvage, but it unraveled no matter your effort. Child, I was holding the hinge because the weight behind that door would have pressed on the very bruise we just began to bind. I was keeping you from a success that would have required you to become small again to survive. I was refusing to trade your future for a photograph. In the unseen, while you called it delay, I was realigning records, retrieving files that bore your name from the back of dusty shelves, canceling assignments that would have tangled fresh blessing in old debts of the soul. I was speaking to people you could not reach, softening a heart here, closing a loophole there, calling an angel to adjust an unseen lever, so that when release comes, it will not only arrive, it will remain. I was not wasting time. I was wasting the strategies that once wasted you. Take one more step of agreement with me now, because faith that is never expressed is like a seed never sown. Open your mouth and say, even with tears in your voice, Father, I will no longer call your protection a punishment. Delay is not abandonment. Delay is alignment. Shape my wings. Strengthen my foundations. Make me a keeper of peace, a keeper of joy, a keeper of provision, a keeper of love. My times are in your hands, and in their time you will hasten it. Let your fingers write down a declaration where you can see it. I am being prepared so the blessing will not break me. I will wait for the Lord. And as you wait with me, awake, honest, unhurried, watch how the texture of time shifts. Watch how panic loses its authority to pick your calendar. Watch how opportunities begin to ring true instead of merely loud. Watch how the same pressure that made you flee becomes the very training that lets you stand. I am not late. I am meticulous. I am weaving strands you cannot see into a cord strong enough to carry what is coming. Stay under my hand a little longer, and when I lift it, you will not only receive, you will retain. Then the door will open without threatening your soul, and the miracle you longed for will not demand you bleed to keep it. This is my love, steadfast and strategic. This is my way with you, my child. Wait for me and live. My child, now come closer and let me place my hand upon the word you carry when you think of yourself, your name. Your name, the identity you wear without thinking, has been a battlefield. It either opens the way for miracles or unconsciously locks shut the very door I have built for you, depending on which voice you agree with when you are tired. I tell you this not to frighten you, but to awaken you, because you have survived by answering to labels that did not come from me, and then wondered why certain rooms remained closed no matter how hard you knocked. When you agree with accusation, the lock turns against you. When you agree with me, the seal breaks and the corridor opens. When I restore your identity, I restore your access, because the door opens when you stop agreeing with the lie. Listen to the phrases that have lived in your mouth like prayers but were actually prisons. I am always too much. I ruin things. Nothing lasts. God tolerates me. I must earn love. I am the problem. I am behind. I attract disappointment. Do you hear how each line assigns you a role and then demands that you perform it again? When you say, I am always too much, you practice shrinking until even kindness feels like excess. When you say, I ruin things, you preempt your own courage and sabotage your next good thing to confirm an old verdict. When you say, nothing lasts, you start grieving blessings while they are still arriving, and your hands grow too numb to hold. When you say, God tolerates me, you hide from the very face that longs to lift your chin. When you say, I must earn love, you burn yourself as an offering on altars that require endless proof and give no rest. These are not harmless habits of speech. They are keys that fit locks in the unseen. The adversary does not need to forge new chains if you keep signing his forms with sentences like these. Hear me. In the courts of heaven there is a record of what is true about you engraved with a name that began in my heart before your first breath. The enemy brings accusations. He waves old labels like stamped papers pointing to failures as if they define you. But I stand as your advocate and I say, overruled. The false agreements you have repeated under pressure have functioned like signatures on documents that restrict your movement. Old vows, harsh self-judgments, borrowed names from wounded mouths. But I am here to tear up the counterfeit files. I am here to issue a decree that supersedes every slander. I am rewriting the header that men and memories placed over your life. The scanner over this next door reads identity, not effort. It responds to who you are in me, not to how hard you try in fear. So hear me rename you, because my word is stronger than the story you settled for. I call you mine. I call you restored. I call you clean. I call you steady. I call you beloved. I call you daughter. I call you son. I call you new. If anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, the new has come. 2 Corinthians 5:17. And again I witness over you. To all who received him, who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God. John 1:12. Not tolerated, children. Not on probation, children. Not earning entry, children with a right of access by blood and by name. Your past is not your name. Your mistake is not your title. Your most desperate season is not your permanent address. I call you by what I see when I look through the finished work, not by what shame recites from yesterday's script. Understand this. When I restore identity, I do more than soothe your private heart. I restore your honor. I clothe you in dignity that can be seen. I steady your gait so you enter rooms without apologizing for existing. I uncover your eyes so you meet gaze without flinching. I give you wisdom to set boundaries that do not shake when old dynamics test them. I place courage in your voice so you speak truth without venom and love, without fear of disappearing. The restoration of your name alters how you show up, how you negotiate, how you serve, how you forgive, how you plan, how you receive celebration without suspicion, how you stay when intimacy is safe and leave when dishonor masquerades as loyalty. I polish again your public reputation where it has been dulled by accusation, not as a vanity project, but as a testimony, so that those who have watched you will have to reckon with my work, and those linked to your name will inherit freedom instead of caution. Now, let us exchange the old labels for mine, because faith that remains unspoken often remains unseated. Put your hand over your heart and answer me out loud, even if your whisper trembles. Father, I break agreement with the names I adopted to survive. Too much. The one who ruins, the temporary, the tolerated, the earner of love. I refuse those signatures. I receive the name you speak, mine, restored, clean, steady, beloved, child of God. My name is not my past. My name is what you decree. I agree with truth. Let your fingers write down a declaration where you can see it and where accusation used to be posted. I am a new creation. I am a child with a right to come close. My story is being renamed. As you say this, watch what begins to shift. Watch how your shoulders remember their true height. Watch how conversations that once triggered your apology for breathing now find you grounded and kind. Watch how opportunities start to recognize you because they were written for the one you really are, not for the imposter fear trained you to be. The scanner over the door reads, "The name you carry, and I have stamped mine over you." Do not return to old aliases when stress knocks. Do not answer again to the call signs of condemnation. When the whisper comes, "You are too much," answer with me, "I am beloved, and my presence is provision." When it hisses, "You ruin things," answer, "I am restored, and my hands build." When it sneers, nothing lasts, answer, I am steady, and what the Lord plants in me will remain. When it lies, God tolerates you, answer, I am a child with a right to come home. This is the door I open now, access by identity. No more delay caused by agreements with lies. Step through as who you are, and systems will begin to treat you accordingly. I am removing the labels that locked your heart, and with the unlocking of your heart comes the unlocking of rooms you could not enter before. Lift your head, my child. Wear the name I give you. Walk with me and watch honor return where shame sat like a squatter. Your name is not your past. Your name is mine upon you, and under that name the future opens. My child, with your name restored and your head lifted, let me place my hand on something older than your memories. The river beneath the river, the currents that shaped the shoreline before you stood on it. This did not start with you, but it can end with you. I tell you this not to frighten you, but to awaken you to compassion and authority, because I see you blaming yourself for patterns that were taught to you by the air of the house, by the looks across the table, by the stories whispered after doors closed. There are voices from generations past forming boundaries around what felt safe to say, to need, to dream. Residue of covenants once made by those who went before you, vows of survival that hardened into rules, and those rules have been running in the background like unexamined code. Hear me gently name them so you can see them and not be ruled by them. The silence that trained you to swallow truth because peace meant nobody raised their voice. The rage that flashed like weather, teaching you to scan doors and plan exits. The addiction that masked loneliness, making numbness feel like a friend. The abandonment that arrived as absence, instructing your nervous system to expect departure. The poverty thinking that taught you, we will never have enough. So generosity felt reckless and rest felt lazy. The spiritual fear that said, do not ask too much of God. Do not draw attention, stay small to stay safe. These patterns did not spring from your heart alone. They were passed like heirlooms, heavy, familiar, placed in your hands with a grim kind of love. This is how we survive here. In the unseen realm, these were not only habits, they became records. Words were spoken in pain and recorded as if they were law. We don't need anyone. Men cannot be trusted. Women will hurt you. Money is dirty. If you speak, you will be punished. Nothing good stays. We always lose. Our family is cursed. These sentences functioned like signatures. They built files stamped with your family name. The enemy, an accuser without mercy, waves such papers in a courtroom not made by hands, pointing to the failures of those before you as if they were verdicts that must be reenacted. Invisible locks attached to a bloodline, limits that felt like personality when they were actually inheritance. But hear me as I rise to my feet over you. I am your advocate, your kinsman redeemer. Christ has redeemed you from the curse of the law, becoming a curse for you. Galatians 3:13. My blood speaks a better word than accusation, and where there has been a record against your name, I issue a higher decree. Do not despise those who handed you these patterns. Most of them were not trying to harm you, they were trying to breathe. They built shelters out of what they had, even if the roof leaked. They made vows not to feel because feeling cost them too much. They hoarded because famine taught them fear. They withdrew from me because religion mocked them while they were poor or grieving. I am not asking you to dishonor them. I am inviting you to honor them by ending what harmed them. You are not betraying your people by healing. You are rescuing the part of them that always hoped another way would be possible. Let tenderness fill you as you stand in this place, because I am rescuing an entire family line through your yes, through your healing, your truth-telling, your new way of coping. So come with me into the court. and watch what I do. I bring forth the file with your family name, pages thick with old statements. I lay my hand upon it, and the crimson seal of the cross presses into the header. Over allegations and self-accusations I write, paid. Over vows made in terror I write, released. Over curses spoken in grief I write, reversed. I do not erase history, I redeem it. I do not pretend the storm never came. I build a breakwater so that coming generations feel the sea but are not swept away. I will give you a new heart, and a new spirit I will put within you, and I will remove the heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh. Ezekiel 36:26. Stone formed by layers of generational frost begins to soften in my warmth. What could not feel learns again to respond to love without panic. Now hear your calling spoken with clarity. You are the hinge, the turning point, the one in whom lines drawn in sand are finally redrawn by grace. In you I am teaching mouths to open kindly where silence smothered truth. In you I am turning wine bottles into water jars that hold living water instead of numbing. In you I am making strength that is patient where rage ruled, presence that stays where abandonment rehearsed exits, wisdom that plans generosity where scarcity scripted grasping, courage that prays bold prayers where spiritual fear policed desire. In you I am re-educating a nervous system to expect goodness and to keep it without sabotaging it. Let us make this practical, because faith that is never expressed is like a seed never sown. Put your hand on your heart and say with me, even if your voice trembles, Father, in Jesus' name, I renounce every inherited vow that taught me to stay small, to stay silent, to expect loss. I forgive those who made those vows in pain. I bless my mothers and my fathers. I release them to your mercy. I break agreement with curses spoken over our family name, about trust, about love, about money, about worth, about you. Christ has redeemed me from the curse. Galatians 3:13. Give me a new heart and a new spirit. Ezekiel 36:26. Let your verdict over my bloodline be freedom. Let your fingers write a declaration where accusation used to sit. It ends with me, and it begins again with me. Truth, tenderness, abundance, and holy courage flow through my name. Now watch me move through the branches as well as the roots. I am lifting a fog that sat over family conversations. I am quieting a reflex to flee before you are loved. I am interrupting a purchase made to soothe shame and replacing it with comfort that sticks. I am softening a voice that learned to bite and giving you language that heals without lying. I am teaching you to set boundaries with honor so cycles do not masquerade as loyalty. I am restoring your capacity to receive help, counsel, correction, celebration without translating it into threat. And what I do in you, I aim through you. Siblings who watch will find themselves curious about peace. Children will grow up in air with more oxygen. Cousins and cousins' children will rise and not know why certain fears never found them. The blessing will not be a performance. It will be the new normal. Do not be surprised if resistance snarls as you step across these old lines. It has been here a long time and believes it has squatters' rights. But remember what I told you. Opposition is not abandonment. It is proof you are targeted for freedom. Stand and keep standing. Speak and keep speaking. When the old sentence rises, we always lose. Answer with me. We overcome by the blood and by testimony. When the old rule whispers, don't trust anyone, answer, I walk in wisdom and covenant. I am not alone. When scarcity hisses, there will not be enough, answer, the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Your mouth is a gavel. With it you enforce the verdict I have issued. My beloved child, you are not merely escaping a story. You are authoring a new chapter for many. Take the mantle without fear. Wear it without apology. Walk through your house and speak blessing over doorways where panic used to pace. Call your family by name before me, not to control them, but to cover them. Mercy, meet them. Truth, meet them. Love, meet them. Let peace settle like a new inheritance. What did not start with you can end with you. And under the name I have placed upon you, a new beginning carries your family forward. Come into the light with me now, my child. Do not delay because you still feel untidy. You do not have to fix yourself before you come closer. You come closer so I can heal what you cannot fix. I am not calling you into an interrogation. I am inviting you into air. I tell you this not to frighten you, but to awaken you. When you step toward me with the truth, you will not be humiliated. You will be held. The light is not a spotlight to expose you to scorn. It is sunrise to restore your sight. As a person who has been sitting in a dim room, steps outside at dawn and squints, not because the sun is cruel, but because the eyes are adjusting. So your soul will blink at first, and then breath returns, color returns, perspective returns. You will find me not with crossed arms, but with open hands. Listen to the kind of confession that heals, and let your heart try its voice. It is not a performance, not a flood of dramatic self-hatred, not a speech meant to earn your way back. It is simple, specific, and safe. Father, here is the truth. I have been afraid that if I trust again, I will be abandoned, afraid that if I hope again, the floor will fall out from under me. I have carried resentment toward the one who did not see me, toward the ones who used me, toward myself for not knowing better then. I have been numb, scrolling, overworking, oversleeping, staying busy so I would not have to feel. I have kept secret habits, private sips of comfort, quiet clicks toward counterfeit intimacy, little lies that let me avoid hard conversations. I have mistrusted you when silence felt like absence, when your timing felt like a refusal. Do you hear it? No theatrics, no self-attack, just light. My child, this is what I mean by coming into the light with me. You let truth breathe without strangling it with shame. And then you turn. That is repentance. Repentance is not you groveling on the floor to convince me to love you. Repentance is you coming home to your right mind. Remember the son who left and then came to himself. Luke 15. He did not rehearse a monologue to punish his heart, so I would open the door. He turned his steps, and while he was still a long way off, I ran to him. I ran. I placed a robe on his shoulders, a ring on his finger, sandals on his feet, and I said, "This, my child, was dead and is alive again, was lost and is found." That is my posture when you turn, movement toward you, not away from you. That is why truth is survivable in my presence. My love runs faster than your confession. Hear the promise that steadies this moment. If we confess our sins, He is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. 1 John 1:9. Faithful, meaning I never decide that this is the day love expires. Just, meaning forgiveness is not a mood swing. It is anchored in the finished work. Forgive, meaning your record is cleared. Cleanse, meaning the residue is washed, the stain and the smell, the memory that clung like smoke to your clothes. Do you see the double gift? Not only pardon but purification. Not only released from penalty but restored to dignity. I do not toss you a towel and tell you to clean yourself. I wash your feet. I wash your face. I change your garment. Confession opens the basin. Repentance steps into the water. Let me draw the picture again so your body understands. You have been in a stale room with the blinds half closed. Dust dances in weak light. The air is heavy. You forget what fresh air feels like. Confession is pulling the cord. The blinds fly up. The window opens. Morning rushes in and carries the weight of yesterday's breath away. At first, it is bright enough to sting. Your eyes water. Your chest heaves as the first deep breath in daze descends. Then the room rearranges itself in truth. Corners you could not see before become clear. What you tripped over in the dark is obvious and easy to move. This is what my light does. It removes the fear of what you could not name and gives you courage to address what you now can see. You ask, what if I tell you everything and I still feel unworthy? I answer, worthiness was never the currency. Belonging was always by blood, my blood. You are not welcomed by performance, but by adoption. You ask, what if I confess the same failure more than once? I answer, confession is not a superstition. Speak the truth as often as your heart needs alignment, but do not rehearse accusations I have already canceled. We will work on patterns and boundaries as we rebuild, but the verdict over your name has been pronounced. Not guilty, fully forgiven, being cleansed. You ask, what if I fall again? I answer, then you get up again with me. I am not shocked. I am committed. My kindness will train you over time to say yes to life and no to the counterfeit. So come close now. Put your hand over your heart and let your breath slow under my gaze. Say it simply. Father, I come into the light with you. This is what I have feared. This is where I have resented. This is where I have gone numb. This is the secret I have hidden. This is the place I have mistrusted you. I turn to you. Cleanse me. Restore me. Teach me to live as the child you have named me to be. And listen as I answer before you finish the last sentence. I forgive you. I cleanse you. I cover you. I am with you. The robe is on your shoulders even now, warm with welcome. The ring is on your finger, authority restored. The sandals are on your feet, readiness to walk a new path. Let your fingers write down one clear declaration where you can see it. I am safe in the light. I am loved while honest. I am turning home. And as you agree, feel the subtle miracles begin. The panic loosens its knot. The room brightens by degrees. The future feels less like a corridor with no exit and more like a road leading to a house with an open door. Child, you can tell me the truth and still be loved. Indeed, my love is what makes truth survivable. Now, stay near. We will keep walking in the light together, one honest step at a time. Now we rebuild, my child. What was revealed in light must now be formed into life, daily, ordinary, repeatable. Healing is not only a moment, it is a new way of living with me, where peace becomes your normal. I am not leaving you at the altar of a single experience. I am walking with you into a pattern, a pace, a way. Think in these simple lines you can remember when tired. What you feed, what you flee, what you face, what you pray. Feed what brings life. Flee what reopens wounds. Face what truth requires. Pray until peace guards the very doors of your mind. When you wake, feed your heart with my voice before the world hands you its scripts. Give me the first small slice, even if it is 3 minutes with a verse and a whisper. Father, I am here. You are here. Lead me. When midday comes and the noise rises, feed gratitude. Name 3 graces without arguing with them. When evening comes, feed reflection. Ask, where did I hide today, and where did I walk with you? This is not a performance review. It is a gentle inventory that keeps you in the light where I already held you. When you feel the urge to disappear, pause. Put your hand over your heart. Slow your breathing and say, I am safe in the light. I stay. Your nervous system learned to sprint. I will teach it to stand. When shame rises to flood you, speak scripture like a key turning the lock. Say, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs 4:23. And then stand as the guard of your own gates, deciding what enters, what lingers, what leaves. When temptation knocks, do not wrestle it alone in the dark hallway. Turn on the light and call for help. Reach out to a trusted one. Say a plain sentence, I am tempted, and let the secrecy break. Asking for help is not weakness, it is wisdom. When heaviness returns like weather, worship anyway, softly, honestly. Sing in your own words, if you must. It is not pretending, it is opening a window to let the storm pass through without settling in. When an old memory surges and your body tenses, step back from the edge. Drink water, take a short walk, return and tell the truth. With me present, that was then. This is now, I am not alone. When confusion clouds your head, delay important choices until the fog clears. Haste in fear is rarely holy. When loneliness prowls, turn your face outward. Text someone safe. Go outside. Look at a face made in my image. Let connection cut a doorway through isolation. When you succeed and your old reflex tries to sabotage the good thing, stop and bless the moment. I receive this without suspicion. Gratitude is not denial. It is alignment with reality as I am giving it. Boundaries are holy, my child. They are not punishments, they are liturgies of honor. You can forgive without returning someone to access that harms you. You can love without losing yourself. Your no can be worship when it guards what I am healing. Remember, above all else, guard your heart. Proverbs 4:23. You are not a wall without gates, nor a field without fences. You are a garden with doors that open to covenant and close to contempt. Practically, this means you may stop answering messages that bait you back into chaos. You may say, I won't discuss this while voices are raised. I will return when we can honor each other. You may decide not to lend what you cannot afford to lose. You may choose not to confess your heart to those who treat it lightly. You may restructure your calendar so that constant urgency does not rob you of rest. Boundaries are not a lack of love. They are a way love lasts. Let me say it plainly so you do not second-guess obedience. Rest is not laziness, it is alignment. I restore your nervous system and your spirit together. I made you a whole person, not a disembodied willpower engine. Sleep is sacred, laughter is medicine. Good food and clean water honor the body I knit. Walks that quiet your mind are not escapes. They are green pastures where I make you lie down. Sabbath is not neglect of duty. It is the oxygen that keeps the fire from choking on its own smoke. When you treat yourself with the gentleness I use on you, you are not indulging sin. You are agreeing with my manner. Now hear the training that guards your inner doors. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which surpasses understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Philippians 4:6-7. When anxiety arrives, do not scold yourself. Redirect yourself. Turn fear into petition. Father, here is what I need. Here is what I fear. Here is what I cannot carry. Lace it with gratitude. Thank you for what is already true, what already held. Then wait and watch what I promised. Peace as a garrison, not a fragile mood, but a soldier at the threshold, posted by my authority. Let this peace hold position when thoughts try to riot. Let it translate your body's alarm into a steady breath. Return to this practice as many times as needed in a day. Repetition is not failure, it is formation. Let us set a few rhythms to make this easy to remember. Morning, 1 verse, 1 breath prayer, 1 small act of order in your space. Midday, 1 minute to pause, unclench your jaw and say, I am guarded by peace. Evening, 1 page or 1 prayer naming where you hid and where you were brave, then lay it down. Weekly, 1 hour of Sabbath joy, something unproductive and holy, a walk without your phone, a meal with laughter, a conversation that is not about fixing anything. Monthly, evaluate access. Who has keys to your heart and schedule? Do those keys honor me? Adjust without apology. These are not laws, they are trellises for new growth. What you feed: truth, presence, gratitude, wise counsel. What you flee: secrecy, contempt, false urgency, environments that train your wounds. What you face: conversations you have avoided, budgets you delayed, the mirror where your eyes have flinched. Face them with me at your side. What you pray: honest petitions wrapped in thanksgiving until peace takes its post again. Let your fingers write down a simple declaration where you will see it often. New patterns, holy boundaries, peace that stays. If you need a sentence to anchor your breath when the swirl begins, use mine. Father, I present this to you. Thank you for being here. Let your peace stand guard over me now. And as an act of agreement, speak it aloud now. Your mouth is a gavel, and with it you set order in your inner court. Do not measure yourself by yesterday's collapse or today's wobble. Measure by direction, by the gentle tilt of your days toward light. I am patient and precise. I am the architect, and you are learning my craft. We will build rooms where you once only camped, habits where you once only had bursts, stability where drama used to live. You are not alone in this rebuilding. I am the one who strengthens your hands, steadies your pace, and smiles when you stop to breathe. This is the new way of living with me, and as you walk it, you will discover what your soul has longed to believe. Peace can be your normal, not a rare visitor, but a resident who keeps the lights on and the doors guarded, day and night. My child, be still beneath my voice and hear the turning of the page. I am signing new decrees over you. What I have written for you will not be canceled by what you have endured. No more delay. I say it as judge and as father, with the same mouth that formed the worlds and whispered comfort over your midnight worries. No more delay. You did not mishear me in the valley. You were being prepared in the valley. The appointed time for wholeness is here. Not a fragile wish, not a maybe, but an order released from my court into your days. Watch the image I show you now, because I speak in pictures so your heart can rest. I walk into the archive where records concerning your life have been stored, files that once carried accusations, timestamps of grief, copies of agreements made in fear, and requests stamped pending while I formed you to carry them. I take the file with your name, the one the accuser kept waving like a right, and I break the wax seal that fear tried to place upon it. I pull the papers out and lay them open on the bench. Over verdicts of shame I write in bold crimson ink, reversed. Over sentences that kept you pacing small circles I write, commuted. Over petitions you prayed with trembling I stamp, granted. Over delays that were never denials I mark, aligned. And then I sign, my name, the name above every name, the name that cannot be contested in any court, in any realm. I issue permissions now, and with each permission, there is movement you will feel in your body and in your world. Permission for peace to return and to remain. No longer a guest who visits, but a resident who keeps watch. Permission for sleep to come without negotiation. For night to be a sanctuary again and not a courtroom replaying old trials. Permission for clarity to sit in your mind like clean water. For fog to lift. For decisions to be made without the old tremor of panic. Permission for joy to wake you without reason. For laughter that does not feel like betrayal to your history. Permission for relationships to be healed where there is humility on both sides. And permission for relationships to be rightly released, where covenant has been broken and access would wound you. I am not a God of chaos. I am the God who sets boundaries and blesses within them. You have imagined the miracle as a single event outside you, a breakthrough email, an apology, a door flung open, and I delight to give good gifts. But hear me, The miracle I sign today is also within you, as deep as marrow. I decree a mind that does not punish itself, that does not drag you through yesterday's corridors of accusation when you make a human mistake. I decree a heart that can receive love without flinching, that does not argue with blessing or sabotage moments of goodness because the old rulebook told you nothing good stays. I decree a nervous system that can feel without drowning, that knows how to be held, that can rest without earning it. I decree an identity steady enough to carry favor without using it to numb what used to ache. This is wholeness, spirit, soul, and body learning the same song. Hear my word sealed with the ancient promise. I will restore to you the years that the locust has eaten. Joel 2:25. Not only events, but years. Time that felt wasted will bear fruit you did not expect. Skills I taught you in the years of scarcity will now serve you in the years of plenty. Friendships you thought dead will bloom again, or I will give you new companions who speak the language of your healed heart. And again I say, behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? Isaiah 43:19. Perception is part of the miracle. I open your eyes so you can recognize the door when it opens, so you do not mistake new pathways for old traps. I speak protection over you as I sign. What tried to consume you will not claim you. What tried to label you will not define you. What tried to isolate you will not keep you. I dispatch angels like couriers and builders, one to carry the decree into the systems of men, one to stand at your door as peace on guard, one to bring forgotten opportunities to the surface like files once lost on crowded desks. I assign another to cut the tether between your heart and the old sentence that said you were too much or not enough. They move at my word, not your worry. They enforce the decree I have issued, not the dread you used to entertain at midnight. You will notice signs of enforcement because I am practical. The email you dreaded sending will be answered with unexpected kindness. The conversation you have postponed will be met with sobriety and honor, or I will give you the courage to walk away without condemnation. The appointment you avoided will be scheduled and attended in peace. The night terrors will loosen their grip, and when they return to test the gate, they will find a sentinel posted. The appetite for counterfeit comfort will weaken, replaced by a hunger for what actually nourishes. Your home will feel quieter inside you, even when the neighborhood is loud. The question, "Am I safe?" will be answered by the presence that answers before fear can finish its sentence. Yes, here with me, you are safe. Listen to the cadence of my decree and let it become your own, because partnership is how we walk this from page to practice. Now is the time. No more delay. What I have written for you will not be canceled by what you have endured. You are not too late. You are right on my clock. Delay was the space where I reshaped your wings. Now you will notice lift. Do not despise small confirmations. They are the early sprouts of the new field. Do not rush to harvest before it is ripe. I am both the rain and the Lord of the harvest, and I will not let your fruit be stolen on the vine. Open your mouth and agree with me even now. Say, Father, I receive your decree over my name. No more delay. Restore the years. Do the new thing. Seal peace at my door. Sleep in my nights. Clarity in my mind. Love in my heart. Heal what can be healed. Release what must be released. Keep me within the boundaries of your blessing. My child, I hear you. The stamp has fallen. The gavel has sounded. The court of heaven rises with the verdict that stands. Appointed restoration. Walk forward gently but steadily, and watch as what I signed in the unseen writes itself into your days with a pen no enemy can steal. Seal this with me now, my child. Do not let this moment float past like a warm breeze you only remember but never breathe again. Plant it in the ground of your life so it grows. Agreement turns revelation into rhythm. Partnership turns promise into pattern. This is not about earning, this is about sealing. Go ahead and like this video as a sign that you agree you are not rejected, you are being restored. Let your fingers become the first small witnesses of your return. A simple act, a simple yes, an altar raised in the ordinary. Write it where others can see and where your own eyes will meet it again when the evening tries to paint your heart gray. Type this in the comments as your banner and your boundary. I am not running from God. I am returning to healing. I am safe in His love. My name is restored. Do not overthink it. Let it be plain and strong. Your declaration does not impress me. It aligns you. Your words do not make me faithful. They make you attentive. And as you write, I move among your sentences like wind through fresh linen, clearing, cleansing, making what is true feel true again. Be a doorway for another. Send this to someone who is hiding in pain. Be a doorway of comfort for them. When you share, you refuse to hoard oxygen while another chokes. You become a lamp carried down a hallway you used to fear. I tell you this not to burden you, but to invite you into joy. The joy of seeing another step into light because you opened a window. As you refresh others, I refresh you. As you bear what I am doing to another threshold, you will feel me steady your own. Now pray with me slowly. Put your hand over your heart. Let your shoulders release. Breathe as if safety is not a rumor, but a presence in the room, because I am here. Repeat after me in your own voice, and let each sentence settle like rain on ground that has longed for it. Father, here I am. I step into the light with you, without performance, without excuses. I confess the truth without shame. I have hidden when I was hurting. I have reached for counterfeits when closeness felt dangerous. I have agreed with labels that were not from you. I bring the fear that trained me to disappear, the anger I stored like a weapon against my own heart, the numbness that made me quiet and small. I do not defend it, I lay it down. I renounce the false names and sentences spoken over me and adopted by me, rejected, too much, not enough, failure, late, cursed, unlovable. These marks do not come from you. I break agreement with them now, in Jesus' name. I receive the name you speak, beloved, chosen, restored, taught by peace, guarded by grace, whole. I believe you when you say, if the Son sets you free, you are free indeed. John 8:36. I receive your forgiveness, which was never a mood swing, but a verdict. Wash me and I will be clean. Speak and I will be settled. I ask for courage to face what I avoided, the conversation, the boundary, the budget, the inbox, the mirror, the memory. I ask for wisdom to know what to release and what to rebuild, who to invite in and who to bless from a distance. I ask for strength to practice the new patterns you taught me. Father, I invite you into the wound I have avoided. Name it now with me, child. Say it simply, not for drama, but for deliverance. This one, this place, this year, this room in my heart, I hold it open to your touch. I do not run, I do not hide. I agree with your kindness here. Heal what words cannot fully describe. Close what has bled for so long. Teach my body that safety is possible. Teach my mind to stay in the present with you. Teach my heart to receive love without bracing for loss. I declare over my life, no more delay. What you called alignment, I now call blessing. My name is restored. My access is restored. My peace is restored and will remain. I will not partner with shame. I will walk with the shepherd of my soul. New patterns, holy boundaries, peace that stays. Now, my child, I answer as the one who promised to be near to the brokenhearted and to save those crushed in spirit. I seal you. I place my hand upon your head and speak shalom. Wholeness, nothing missing, nothing broken in its rightful time. I post peace at your door like a sentinel. I assign help to your steps, people who honor you, wisdom that meets you, opportunities that do not demand your soul as payment. I cancel the echo of old accusations when you lie down to sleep. I bless your mornings with clarity and your evenings with rest. I give you a sign in the coming days, small, kind, unmistakable, so you will know this sealing is not a feeling only, but a covenant I keep. As an act of agreement beyond words, take one small step today. Throw away what ties you to the counterfeit. Schedule the appointment you delayed. Open the blinds. Drink water, write the email. Place money into savings as a quiet vote for your future. Tell a trusted friend the truth. Pick one. Do not aim to be dramatic. Aim to be faithful. Faith that is never expressed is like a seed never sown into the ground. Sow and watch me give growth. Keep your heart close to me in the days ahead. When anxiety taps your shoulder, we will practice what we have built. Present your requests to me with thanksgiving, and my peace will guard you. Philippians 4:6-7. When shame whispers, answer with our declaration and walk into the light again. When victory comes, do not fear it. Receive it with open hands and steady breath. I am not teasing you with goodness. I am training you to live with it. Now lift your eyes and agree one more time. Say, Father, I seal this moment. I belong to you. I will not run. I will return and remain. My heart is guarded. My steps are ordered. My future is under your decree. Thank you for bringing me home all the way. Amen. Stay with me and stay within this house we are building together. Subscribe and stay close, because I will keep walking with you, step by step, until your peace is steady again. Turn on your notifications as a simple way of saying, I am not doing this alone. I am staying in the light. Share this with the one hiding in plain sight, and let us watch together as the appointed restoration writes itself into the days ahead. Now is the time. No more delay. Come home.